وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. Now the nature and cleansing of al-najasa. Okay, as I said, there are two types of najis substances. We have inherently najis substances, and this type refers to the things which are inherently najis, such as urine, feces, menstruation blood, and the like. Such substances can never become tahir except by istihala. What's meant by istihala? Istihala unless those substance is chemically transformed to another substance. Okay, I'll give you an example. Lard, which is khinzir fats, are najis, right? But if lard underwent chemical transformation, it won't become najis anymore because it's not khinzir fats anymore. Okay? This is called istihala. So if, for example, urine is treated chemically, okay, in a chemical reaction, and the end product is a different product which has nothing to do with urine, it is not najis anymore. Okay, because it is not the same substance anymore. Okay, and this is why, as I keep telling the brothers, soap that made from lard is okay for us to use. Why? Because that lard underwent chemical reaction, and the end product, which is soap, has a different chemical composition than lard, which is the fats of the khinzir. Okay, this is why we said the inherently najis substances will never become tahir except by al-istihala, by chemical transformation. Okay, and the Prophet ﷺ says, he was asked about khamr, wine or liquor, if it's transformed into vinegar, can we use it? He says yes, because it's not khamr anymore, it's vinegar. Okay, this was meant by istihala. Is it clear? Huh? You have a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask about gelatin.
Gelatin. Okay, now first of all about gelatin. Gelatin is extracted maybe from bones, right? From like, it could be anything. It could be beef, it could be from sheep, it could be from fish, pork, right? From swine, khinzir, right? It could be also from plants, right? So you don't have to dig and answer and call 800 numbers to find out. Okay? So most likely it's not from khinzir. The probability of using it from khinzir is slight, right? Because it could be from any other thing. This is number one. Number two, they extracted the gelatin from those tissues, but does it undergo chemical transformation or physical transformation? Most likely it's physical transformation. There is no change in the composition of it. Okay? But because it could be from different sources, unless it is stated clearly in the ingredients that is made from khinzir, then you cannot use it.
But if we went through the chemical transformation.
But it's not chemical transformation, I'm sure.
Basically, when you put that in the food, it does go through the chemical transformation.
It is changed, it's not anymore gelatin.
Well, I mean, it's ready in gelatin, but when you get something in a food, it's not gelatin anymore. It definitely went through chemical transformation.
Okay, what is meant by istihala? I'll give you an example. Now, if I have a cup of water mixed with sugar, then I stir the sugar. The sugar is not there anymore, okay? But this is not a chemical transformation because I can reverse it. This is a reversible process. I can reverse it, okay? How? I can boil water and then get sugar again. This is not chemical transformation. Chemical transformation means it underwent a chemical reaction where the end product is a totally different product. Like they use lard, they boil it into sodium hydroxide, and then the end product is soap. The chemical composition of soap is different than the chemical composition of lard. This is istihala. If that is the case, it becomes tahir. Otherwise, it is not tahir. Okay? So for the gelatin, because it could be from many sources, we don't know. Unless if it's stated it's from khinzir, then you should not use it. Now, yes.
Mostly in this country, they use it from pork because it's the cheapest form. And if you notice, when you buy it that's kosher
Mm.
or from fish, the product costs a lot more. So it's because of pricing in this country, pork is a lot cheaper, so they use it from.
So you're saying that most likely it's from khinzir?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, if that is the case, but as far as I know, they said it could be from anything. Because they have not, beside the whether it's expensive to use it from other types of gelatin is more expensive than getting it from khinzir. They worry about other things. I remember, in the 80s here, even bread, they used to use lard in bread. But now people, they concern about their health. There are certain types of animal fats that they don't use. Okay, so now they change. They don't use lard or animal fats anymore. Is that the same for gelatin or not? I'm not sure about that. Just check it. If most likely it is from khinzir, then of course we should stay away from it. Okay, but I need to make sure that this is. Can inshallah says this for us? Okay, inshallah.
I was told by a Muslim sister who's a chemist that
Okay.
gelatin in particular, that it does go through chemical change. That's what she said.
Okay, it
Chemist.
does go through chemical change.
That's what she said.
There's two types of gelatin, right? There's plant gelatin and animal gelatin.
Yeah, but if it's not specified, it says gelatin only. Okay. So if my point is that if he says, brother Jamal, right? Jamil. He says most likely it's from khinzir. If that is the case, of course we should stay away from it. But maybe he has updated information. But the information I have that no, it could be from anything.
Even if it is from beef, for example, if it is not slaughtered properly, that's the case.
Type this is another issue. But beef. We are talking with some brothers. What makes meat halal is what you purchase it from, or another thing. Halal meat is not the meat that purchased from a halal food store. Halal meat is the meat that fulfills certain conditions. Some conditions pertains to the one who slaughtered that meat, that beef, or that chicken, or that. If it's slaughtered by a Muslim, a Jew, or a Christian, and if he used a sharp object, which is a knife, and he cuts the two veins here and the throat, okay, and the animal is killed while the animal is alive, not after being shot or killed, then it's okay to use it. It is halal. Okay? Yes, it's halal. It is okay to consume. Okay? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَطَعَامُ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ حِلٌّ لَكُمْ. The meat that is slaughtered by a Christian or a Jew is halal for us, as long as the rest of the conditions are fulfilled. And I think all those conditions, or most of them, are fulfilled.
Not in this country.
Huh?
Not in this country. The slaughterhouses do not kill animals by slitting the
No,
throats before they're
like
killed.
for example,
they knock them in the head, or they shock.
I know about beef. They use a stun gun. But according to the regulations, the FDA regulation, that the animal has to be killed while it's alive. I know certain percentage of cows will die because of the shock, but it's very low percentage. Okay, because it's a requirement here to slaughter. And even back home, how do they slaughter the cow? They use a stick. They hit the cow with a stick on its head. Okay, just to make it drowsy, and then they slaughter it right away. And here I went to some slaughterhouses. They shot and immediately they slaughter it. And most likely, the cow will be slaughtered while it's still alive. But anyhow, if you want to be for extra precaution, if you don't want to use, we eat it, don't eat it. But don't tell others it's haram.
But is one of the conditions that the animal can't eat other animal byproducts? Because that's what traditionally happened in most of the
Like
farming
meat
here.
by product.
You give the
Yeah.
the feed is from other animals' leftover parts.
Yeah, but I think they're not doing that anymore. After the cow mud disease,
After mad cow disease, it
yeah,
stopped.
they stopped that. This is known in Islamic fiqh. It's called al-jallala. Al-Jallala is the animal that fed from filth or najasa. And for that, such type of animal should be kept away from that for 1 week, and then after that you can drink its milk or eat its meat. But in general, meat that's sold at Safeway or Giant or, it is okay to eat. But if you want to be extra precautious and you don't want to eat it, it's up to you. But you cannot say, because as I said, saying for something which is halal, saying it's haram, is the same like making haram halal. You have to be very careful. I don't eat it, but I won't tell other people you should not eat it. Okay? And it's halal because all those conditions are fulfilled.
Do you think this is the view of the majority of the scholars in this country? I mean, because there are so many shops, halal shops and all those things, and we go there and we pay more price.
I know.
High price, actually.
I know. Like for example, chicken from a so-called halal meat store, it worth twice as much as the chicken you get from Costco, for example, right? But what makes the meat halal? If you get it from halal meat, does this make it halal? And if you get it from shop or warehouse, not halal? No. The Sharia set certain conditions. If those conditions are fulfilled, then the meat is halal and you can use it. Okay, but if
tell this to the business
Huh?
people here,
Ah.
so that they can reduce the price.
And then we start buying from
What about the condition that it be slaughtered by a Muslim?
no, it's not a condition to be slaughtered by a Muslim. If it's slaughtered by a Muslim, a Jew or a Christian. Okay? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, the food here refers to the meat of the people of the book is lawful for you to eat.
The
Means,
food or the meat?
huh?
Does that Arabic word, does that means food or does it mean meat?
No, here exactly the word food refers to meat. Because other types of food is okay for us to eat, like vegetables and fruits, whether it's, you get it from a Hindu farm or a Buddhist farm, you can eat it. Here, this ayah talks about meat. Okay, an animal that is slaughtered by a Jew or a Christian or a Muslim, as long as it's slaughtered. Huh?
Even if they do not say Bismillah?
طيب, I will ask you a question, brother. Look here. When Allah revealed those ayat at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, do the Jews and the Christians at that time used to say Bismillah? طيب, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said their food is okay for you to eat. And by the way, the faith of the people of the book at that time and now is the same. They used to believe in Trinity. They used to believe that Jesus is the Son of God at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says their food is okay for us to eat. Their food here refers to their meat. Okay, but of course, if you don't want to eat it, you need to be. This is called wara'. Wara' means to extra precautious. Don't eat it, but you cannot say it's haram to eat it. You cannot say it's not halal meat. It is halal meat, but I don't like to eat it.
Do the Christians and the Jews, when they slaughter, do they slaughter just like we do by cutting just
Yes,
the chicken?
yes.
Or do they
In
cut
fact,
the
it's a
entire-
yes,
entire
yes.
thing?
It's a regulation. Just go and check the regulation, FDA regulations, when it comes to slaughtering animals. They have to cut the head so that the blood will be drained from the
Not the
animal.
entire head, just the.
Yeah, not the entire head. Yeah.
Because when they do it with the machine, right? They just put the chicken all
Yeah,
the machine.
exactly. Even Muslims, they do it like that.
Yeah.
Even Muslim chicken, you get it from halal meat store, it's killed like that. They don't kill it one by one. They charge you more for that.
Yeah,
And,
versus machine.
Yeah. But no problem. And it's killed as long as that machine is operated by a Muslim, a Jew, or a Christian. If it's a Hindu or a Buddhist, then you cannot eat it.
These days, it's cheap labor to get atheists, Latinos.
But look here, the majority of people, Latinos are all of them Christian and Catholic. No, I know maybe the one who slaughtered that animal is Vietnamese, who's Buddhist. But most likely, because the majority of people here is either Christian, Jews, or Muslims, right? They're very a small percentage of, for example, Hindus or. But okay, the majority are either most likely Huh?
So
Sick.
As long as,
طيب.
as long as it's operated by
Huh?
the people of the book, it's fine. They don't have to be the ones slaughtering.
Yeah, if it's a machine, it has to be operated by a Muslim, a Jew, or a Christian. Okay?
So
Yeah.
it would be safer to even get from the kosher stores,
Yeah.
where it says kosher
Yeah.
meat.
Kosher. Yeah, kosher meat. Jews, you know, they follow the same.
For beef and for
Yeah,
chicken,
exactly.
for
Yeah.
turkey.
Yeah. But
A lot of the restaurants, they cook with wine in there. And they say that they're cooking when the temperature goes up, the wine evaporates and all those things.
yeah, but it's still this is also not a chemical transformation. Yeah, it's still wine will
wine's
be
still
there.
there.
Yes. Yeah. This is different. You know, we should not do that.
Yeah, but about the fat of that reason,
Huh?
the fat of the pork.
Okay.
I heard from one Imam saying that if the fat of the pork is okay because the Quran is said like
The flesh or the
beef, not, yeah, it's
لا،
Allah
لا.
specific, so what?
no. The ayah says لحم خنزير فإنه رجس. So the word rix, which means filth, refer to the khinzir itself. So it's bones, flesh, and you know anything comes from the khinzir is najis. Okay?
Brother,
Now,
sorry, although you explain it in a couple of different ways, back home people use the term halal and zabiha. So can you elaborate also zabiha also, if you don't mind?
I think when they said the
Same
biha, they refers to the animal slaughtered, maybe by hand by a Muslim, right? But you know the terminology used in Islam is halal. If it fulfills the conditions, it's halal, whether you get it from this store or from that store. Okay? So, والله تعالى أعلم. يعني yes.
I think Zabiha, they refer to bleeding of the blood, draining of the blood, when the neck is still connected.
I'm sorry. When
When they slaughter it,
okay.
neck should be still connected so that the animal bleeds all the blood.
This is what they call the biha.
Zabiha.
Okay. I don't know. This is terminology used by يعني some people.
Is that a requirement?
The requirement is to cut the two veins and the throat. There is two veins here close to the throat and the throat itself. Those has to be cut. Okay? You don't have to chop the head.
Yeah.
If the head is chopped, then what it,
That would be better, of course. Chopping the head is better, but you won't be able to chop the head right away because there is bones need to be cut. Right?
No, what
but it become makruh.
if the veins from the brain are still connected
To the body.
to the body, that will help to drain all the blood from the body.
Yeah, if you cut the entire head.
No, not the entire.
If you cut
Keep
the-
the connection, keep the head connected.
If you keep the entire head,
Okay.
then
This
it
will help.
doesn't-
Will help it to drain a lot.
Drain it.
Yeah, because the drainage is from those two veins. So once those two are cut with the throat, then the animal خلاص is killed. So the blood will be drained.
No, thing is that, what he said, I read a scientific experiment.
Okay.
If the brain is still connected through the
Okay.
jugular vein
Okay.
with the
Then
body,
the blood. Okay.
then the body muscles start squeezing.
Yeah.
That squeezing, that
Will lead
help to drain out
yeah.
the blood.
Yeah. Okay. I got your point.
I think the
meat
whole
contain the
head-
blood actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, otherwise, if the whole throat is cut off,
Mm.
the brain is not connected with the body,
So it
and
won't
it cannot
drain.
squeeze the
Okay.
muscle.
Okay. This from scientific point of view.
The scientific
Yeah.
point of
Yeah.
view.
But Islamically, you don't have to chop the head.
No, it become makruh according to the Hanafi as
To chop the head. Yeah.
To chopping the head from the body,
Mm.
it become makruh.
Yeah, but I said, yeah, usually the way they slaughter is just they cut those two veins and the throat.
Yeah.
Okay, and they leave the animal until the animal drain the blood. Then after that, they can chop the head to skin the animal. Okay, but anyhow, the point that I'm making that what makes meat halal or haram is the fulfillment of those conditions. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
One point. Food is very serious matter. I heard some stories
Ah,
that if somebody eat from the haram,
ah.
the ibadat from that person will not be for the 40 days. Whatever that person die within these 40 days, eating the haram stuff. And that's why I'm a little bit extra careful
not to eat from this suspicious killing, this kind of machine or that kind of killing. I like to prefer go to the farm and slaughter with my own hand.
Okay, this is why I said at the beginning, if you want to be extra precautious and you don't want to eat from it, you can do that. Okay, Imam al-Nawawi, he stopped eating fruits in Damascus. You know why? Because he heard that one farm was taken unjustly from its owner by an unjust ruler. And he feared that if he eat fruit, it might be from that farm. This is one farm from thousands of farms. He wants to be extra precautious, but you cannot tell people of Damascus not to eat fruits. The same thing is applied here. Don't tell people you cannot eat meat, you purchase from Shoppers Warehouse because it's haram.
No,
Yeah, but I want to be extra precautious. I don't eat it, but I don't tell other people it's haram for you to eat. Now, and this hadith you had mentioned, this if someone knowingly, intentionally ate from haram. But according to, the opinion that, for example, I followed, this meat is halal. It's not haram. If it's haram, I won't eat it. I know this is a controversial issue and people will keep discussing this issue over and over. Wallahu ta'ala alam. طيب, let's go back to inherently najis substances. The only way to make it tahir is by an istihala, chemical transformation. Now, the second type of najis objects are, this refers to the pure things acquired impurity by coming into contact with one of the inherently najis substances. Like if you have water contaminated with najasa, with impure substance. Okay, this is called acquired. Now, the way to purify such type of najasa is by adding more water to it until the smell, the color, or the odor disappeared. But here, in order to purify it, you have to, it has to undergo chemical transformation. طيب, as I mentioned earlier, that the basic principle that all things that are pure and lawful, anything is assumed to be lawful for us to use, and it's pure, unless we have an evidence that suggests otherwise. Like, for example, if you are walking and you step over water, okay, now you should assume that water as pure, unless you have an evidence like the color or the odor that tells you that it is contaminated with najasa. Okay, if you are walking and then water splashed on you, you should assume it as pure, unless you have an evidence to suggest otherwise. This is the meaning of this principle. And as I mentioned earlier, those ayat, Allah says, it is He who has created for you all things that are on earth. Everything on earth was created for us to use, to trade, to eat, to drink, to wear. Okay?
Can we go back one slide? Is this ayah from Quran or
No, this is the principle. When this principle is derived from those ayat. Okay? طيب. Here are some examples of the inherently najis substances. First of all, human urine, madhi, feces, stool, madhi, and wadi. Okay? Now, urine, stool, those are inherently najis. Madhi is a white, sticky fluid discharge when thinking about sexual intercourse. It is not semen. It is a fluid. It's sometimes called prostatic fluid. This discharge usually happens when someone thinks about sexual intercourse. Now this fluid is najis. It's treated just like urine. Okay, and it needs to be cleaned. Also, wadi is another thick white fluid discharged after urination. Or sometimes some scholars have said when someone carry a heavy load, he might feel some discharge coming. And that is not urine, it is wadi. But it's treated just like urine, which is need to be cleaned if it dripped in one's clothes. There are some exceptions here. You know, many, which is semen. Semen is not najis. You know, discharge of semen necessitates ghusl, but semen itself is not najis. Why? Because Aisha radiallahu anha said, I used to scratch it from the clothes of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Scratching is different than washing. If it's najis, scratching is not enough. It has to be washed. And since she only scratched it, this means that it is not najis. Okay? So semen is not najis. Also, vaginal wetness that experienced by some women is not najis if it comes from the uterus and not from the bladder. Okay? However, it invalidates wudu even though it is tahir. Okay? طيب. Blood. Now, blood that boosts force from slaughtering an animal is najis. But a small amount of blood is overlooked and pardoned. Okay, but the blood that boosts force after slaughtering an animal is najis and it needs to be cleaned. Some exceptions. The blood of animals that have no running blood, no running blood like bees, ants, bugs, things like that. Those are not najis. Human blood is tahir, according to the stronger opinion of the scholar, except the blood from menstruation, rectal bleedings, and bleeding from sexual organs. With the exception of those, yellow, human blood, whether the human being is a Muslim or a kafir, is not najis, is tahir. طيب, urine and dung of an animal that is not permissible to eat its meat is also najis, yes.
But regarding the human blood, so the blood itself is not just, but if you bleed, then we don't have tahara anymore?
No. Blood, human blood is not najis.
Yeah, but that's not cut myself. It's not wudu, bro.
If someone got wounded,
Yeah,
right?
get a cut, yeah.
Right. According to the Hanafi madhab, that if you have a wound and the blood, and that wound bleeded, this action itself will nullify one's wudu. Which means that he has to make wudu again. This is an opinion in both Hanbali madhab and the Hanafi madhab. But the others madhab opinion that it won't nullify your wudu. Okay, when we talk about what nullifies wudu, we'll elaborate on this inshallah. طيب, the meat of an animal that is not permissible for us to eat its meat is also najis. Like, for example, as we said, dogs and pigs and the rest. طيب, for the dog, okay, we have 3 opinions regarding whether it is najis or not. According to Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, it is najis. The hair, the saliva, the flesh, everything coming out of a dog is najis. It is not najis, and this is the opinion of Imam Malik. Imam Malik considered dogs are not najis. Some other scholars, they said, the saliva is najis, but the hair is tahir, like dog hair and skin is tahir. So we have those 3 opinions. According to the Hanbali madhab, everything that related to the dog is najis. The blood, the flesh, the hair, everything. And Imam Malik in the other extreme says it is not najis, even the saliva of that dog. And he said why the Prophet ﷺ commanded us to clean a plate licked by a dog 7 times. He said not because it is najis, because it's harmful. It's harmful for us. This is the opinion of Imam Malik. The other scholars, they said only the saliva of that dog is najis, but its hair and its body and skin is not najis. Wallahu ta'ala. Now this opinion is favored by Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, the 3rd opinion. طيب, pigs also have 2 opinions. Also Imam Malik, the majority of the scholars said it is najis, anything of it najis, except Imam Malik says that, the opinion of Imam Malik that it is not najis. It's only prohibited for us to consume its meat, but it is not najis. Okay? Type dead animals are najis with the exception of any dead animal is najis with the exception of animals that do not have running blood, like insects, flies, and so on, fish and locust. Those are exceptions. Type human being body is tahir, dead or alive, whether he's a Muslim or non-Muslim. Wallahu ta'ala ajallu alam. طيب, how to clean najasa? طيب, if clothes or body are contaminated with visible najasa, like blood for example, they should be rubbed and scraped off and washed with water until they are cleansed of the najasa. How can you tell that you remove the najasa? Like if there is a soap contaminated with menstruation blood, then she has to wash it, okay? And wash the water that drips. If it comes pure, yarhamukallah, then this means that the najasa is physically removed. But if still the water drips from it is unclear, then this means that she needs to wash it more and more until the water that comes out is clean. Now after that, the stains that remain after washing, which is extremely hard to remove, is pardoned and forgiven. Okay, if she cleaned that soap and the water dripped clean, but still the color is there or the smell, she should not worry about that. Okay, as long as when she wash it with water, the water drips clean. طيب, if the najasa is not visible, like urine, is only sufficient and enough to wash it one time. Okay, طيب, if there is a najasa on the ground, it's only enough and sufficient to pour water. If it's a physical najasa, it has to be removed and then pouring water over it. طيب, mirrors, knives, swords, glass, smooth surfaces, it's only enough to wipe out the najasa. Even you don't have to use water. Just use a piece of cloth or a piece of paper and wipe it. Shoes would be purified by rubbing them against the ground. If there is najasa, impurity on one's shoes, it's enough to wipe it against the ground, to rub it against the ground. طيب, wudu. طيب, we have 25 minutes. Okay, and those 25 minutes, inshallah, I will try to describe wudu and ghusl, inshallah, and then when you go and read the handout, inshallah, you find a lot of information, inshallah. Okay. طيب, wudu. As for wudu, we know that wudu is a prerequisite for the salah. Because the Prophet ﷺ says, لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم إذا أحدث حتى يتوضأ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept a prayer from any of you if he has hadath, if he's in a state of hadath, until he makes wudu. Now, there are 6 wajibat, 6 obligatory acts of wudu. The first obligatory act of wudu is to wash the entire face. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم. Wash your face. Okay, this is the first obligation. The second obligation is to wash the hands from the tips of the fingers to the elbows, and the elbow itself has to be washed. Okay, this is the second obligation. The third obligation is to wipe over your head. And the third obligation is to wash your feet to the ankle, and the ankle itself has to be washed. There's 4. Now, those 4 obligations are agreed upon by all the scholars. Some other scholars added 2 more obligations, that you have to perform those actions one after the other. Wash your hands right after you finish washing your face. Don't delay washing your hands way after you wash your face. Okay, alhamdulillah. And the 6th obligation, that is called the tartib. Tartib means you have to perform those actions in the prescribed order, which means that you wash your face, then right after that you do your hands, then the head, then the feet. This is the opinion of 2 of the Imams, Shafi'i and the Hanbali. Now the Hanafi and the Maliki said the order is not important. It is only recommended. Like if you wash your feet, then you wipe your head, then you come back to your hands, according to the Hanafi and the Maliki, this is acceptable. The wudu is valid, but it's preferred to follow the order. So a group of scholars said it is a must to follow the order, and another group says it is only recommended. But the stronger among the two opinions that it is a must to follow the order. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned those parts one after the other in this order: the face, the hands, the head, and the feet. Okay? Now, for the proper way to perform wudu. The proper way to perform wudu, first of all, you need to have the intention in your heart. Intention is a prerequisite. Okay. Secondly, you have to remove anything that would prevent water from reaching the skin from your body, especially for our sisters. If she had a nail polish, then she needs to scratch it because it will prevent water to reach to the nail. Okay? Then after that, it's recommended to say Bismillah. It's not an obligation. Then you start, it's recommended to start with washing your hands 3 times. The hand wash to the wrist 3 times at the beginning of wudu. Okay? Then madmada and istinshaq, to rinse your mouth and clean your nose. Okay? You take 1 handful of water, then you put little into your mouth and little into your nose. And you count 1, then you take another handful. Okay? And then a 3rd handful. Or you can do the mouth first 3 times and then the nose. But the first way is more stronger, because it was mentioned in many authentic ahadith that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to take 1 handful of water for both the mouth and the nose, and he repeated this 3 times. Then washing the face, the entire face. And the proper way is to use both hands. Like you take water with both hands, or you take water with the right hand and then put a little in the left, and then with 1 hand you wash the entire face. Okay? It's recommended to do it 3 times. Then you wash the hands. You start from the tips of the fingers all the way to the elbow, and the elbow itself has to be washed. Make sure the entire hand was washed. Now, what's considered to be 1 time is to wash the entire hand, even if it takes you to take water twice or 3 times. Okay? So I took water the first time, I found out this part is not washed. Then I take 2nd time until I'm sure that the entire hand was washed, then I count 1. Okay, so it's recommended to repeat it 3 times. Okay, you do the right, preferred first, and then the left. Then wiping over one's head, which is the following obligation. You just wet your hands with water. It's wiping, not washing. And you start from the front, and you go all the way to the back, and then you come back again. This is a proper way to do it. There is another way to do it, is to start from the middle, and then you follow the direction of your hair. This way, and this way, and that way. You can do it because the Prophet ﷺ once, when he entered Mecca and at the house of Ummu Hani, he did so. He started from the middle, and then he followed the direction of the hair. You can do it both ways. Then with your index finger and thumb, the index finger from inside your ears and this from outside, you wipe over your ears once. Okay? Then after that, you wash your feet to the ankle. The right first, which is recommended, and then the left after that. Now, it's a sunnah after you finish your wudu to say the dua. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم اجعلني من التوابين واجعلني من المتطهرين. You will find this inshallah in the handout. Also, it's recommended after you finish your wudu to pray 2 rak'ah. Because the Prophet ﷺ says, whoever did wudu like this after he explained wudu, and then he prayed 2 rak'ah with devotion, then Allah will forgive his previous sins. Okay? Now, there is no dua to be said while you are making wudu. There is no support for that. You make the dua after you finish your wudu. Now, any question related to wudu? Yes.
How about the numbers of time? People say that you can do it 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, or 3. Yes.
So in all.
Yeah. And sometimes you can mix it. You can wash your face 3 times, your hands 2 times, your feet 1 time. The Prophet ﷺ did that once. You can do it once, or twice, or 3 times, like this.
But for the hair, only 1.
No, the head only 1. Yeah. Yes.
What about reaching the roots of the hair on your head and on your beard?
This is not required in wudu. It's required in ghusl only, because in wudu you need to wipe over your head, wipe only. But in ghusl you need to make sure that water reaches the skull. Now about, having your fingers, go through, like to make sure that water went through or inside your beard is not a requirement. Okay, even the scholars disputed whether it is recommended or not. You need to wash your beard as part of your face. Like when you take water, you wash the entire part of your face, including the beard. But you don't have to make sure that water goes. It's recommended, to rub in between your fingers when you wash your hands, and also using your little finger to rub in between your toes when you wash your feet. Okay? طيب, Ismail, you have a question?
Yeah. When you're wiping over your socks, do you take fresh water?
Type now, wiping over the two socks. This is the following point. Okay? The conditions for wiping over the two socks. First, you have to put your socks after a complete wudu, in which you washed your feet. It's the first condition. The second condition, that the shoe or the sock, it should cover the ankle, up to the ankle. Okay? Your entire foot, including the ankle, is covered by it. Okay, and this number 2. Okay, number 3, it should be from a material that is lawful for us to use. Okay, this is very obvious. Now, if you did so and you put your socks after a complete wudu, whether the sock is thick or thin, whether it's made from cotton, cloth, or leather, you are allowed to wipe over it. If you can walk on it, then you can wipe over it. Okay? If you said only, it should be made of this metal or that metal, this is against the intention of the Sharia. The Sharia want to make it easy. It is rukhsa. If you start putting conditions like it has to be of such and such material, like it has to be from leather, not anyone can afford to have leather socks. And this is rukhsa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His Sharia want to make it easy for us. And there is no basis for that. Okay? As long as you can walk on it and it covers up to the ankle, then you can wipe over it. Okay? Now, I'm sorry?
How many times?
The expiration for
How many times do you have to wipe?
once, you wet your hands with water. Okay? And then you start from the toes and you go all the way to the start of the shin. Okay? It's better to do it at the same time, to place the right on the right, the left on the left, and then you go like that. Or you can do the right first and the left first, the second, okay? One time. The top of, not the bottom, only the top. Okay, now, if you did so, for example, if I put my socks, after I made wudu at 5:30 in the morning for Salat al-Fajr, then I put my socks. Okay? Then I kept my socks on. Now, say at 12 p.m., I lost my wudu. Okay? I put them first at 5:30. I lost my wudu at 12 o'clock. 1 o'clock I made wudu for Zuhr. Okay? I have 24 hours. Okay? 24, as long as I'm keeping them, I can wipe over them. But the 24 hours start from when? 5:30 in the morning, or 12 p.m. or 1 o'clock? 1 o'clock. The first time you make wudu after you lost your original wudu. Okay? Then from 1 o'clock today until 1 o'clock tomorrow, anytime I make wudu, I can just wipe over them, as long as I kept them on. Okay?
Is it 24 hours or?
No, 24 hours. A day and a night. The Prophet says a day and a night. This is 24 hours. From the time you wipe, the first time you wipe over them after losing the original wudu. As long as you're keeping. If you're a traveler, you have 72 hours, 3 days and 3 nights. Okay? There are many issues, inshallah, mentioned in this here about, different situations about, wiping over the two socks. Okay? Now, let's go to ghusl. Okay?
Brother, what if the socks have some holes in them?
If as long as it's still called sock, then you can. And imagine the Sahaba were very poor. Now every one of us has many shirts and many trousers. The Sahaba might have only one garment used all over the year, one shoe or one sock. Okay, so we expected that they have holes and cuts in their socks and their shoes, and we do not have any report from the Prophet ﷺ that if there is a cut or a hole that you cannot use it. Okay?
But the shoes have to be taken off, or it's okay?
I'm sorry?
The shoes.
Yeah.
If we wear the shoes, it's okay, or we have to?
Yeah, you know, for example, if I put my socks in the morning time after wudu, then after that I put my shoes, I can wipe over my shoes. Type. Now, removal of your socks or shoes will not nullify your wudu. Okay? But if you put them again, you cannot wipe over them again. Now, again, if I made wudu and I wiped over my socks, now I want to enter the masjid, I found out, no, I need to take off my sock. Take off your sock, but this will not nullify your wudu.
Okay, I missed that. So his question was, can I make masah on my shoes? I can do that.
Yes,
right?
you can do that, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have to pray on that shoes? Or
No, you don't
can do
have.
massage, take the shoes
Yes,
off and pray?
exactly. Yeah.
What
You
about
don't, you know, because the removal of the shoe will not nullify your tahara. Like, for example, in wudu, you wipe over your head, right? What if you made wudu and then you shaved your head? You shaved your hair. Does this nullify your wudu? No. None of the scholars said it will nullify it, even though the hair that you wiped over is not there anymore. The same thing, I wiped over my socks or my shoes, then I took off my shoes. Merely taking off my shoes will not nullify my wudu. Okay? This is about, I'm sorry?
The shoes has to cover the ankle.
No, because you wear your socks. Now I said if you have socks and then you put a shoe, you can wipe, because now we can consider the socks and the shoe as one part of two layers. Okay? Like you have a thick socks, and then you compose of two layers, and then you took one layer off. Okay? And this is the opinion of Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah. He said it won't nullify your wudu. طيب, ghusl, which is complete ablution. What necessitates ghusl? There are 5 things that necessitate ghusl. The first thing is sexual intercourse, even without ejaculation. Okay? The second thing is ejaculation, accompanied with sensual pleasure. Okay? And this is called janaba. If someone had sexual relation with his wife, even without ejaculation, this will necessitate ghusl. Okay? If someone discharged semen or mani out of sensual pleasure, this will necessitate ghusl. Okay? Thirdly, menstruation and nifas. Menstruation, women through menstruation, they cannot pray, they cannot fast, but when menstruation comes to an end, she has to wash. It is an obligation upon her to make ghusl. Okay? Also, when the bleeding that accompanied delivery come to a stop, the woman has to wash her body. The fourth thing that necessitates ghusl is a non-Muslim becoming a Muslim. Then he has to make ghusl according to stronger opinion. And the fifth one, death. If a Muslim died, then it's incumbent upon the community to wash his body. Okay? Those are the 5 things that necessitate ghusl. Now, how to make ghusl? There are 2 ways. The first way of making ghusl is called the sufficient way. And it's simply to wash the entire body, including your mouth and your nose. Whether you started from your feet, from your head, from the right, from the left, as long as you have the intention, and then you rinse your mouth, you wash your nose from inside, of course, and then you wash the rest of your body, you are okay. Okay? This is called the sufficient way of making ghusl. But the proper way to do it is to start by washing your hands first 3 times, then washing one's private parts, then making wudu, like you make wudu for the salah. Then you start from your head. You take 3 handfuls of water, you pour it over your head. Then you start pouring water over the rest of your body, and to do the right part before the left part. This is a proper way to do it. But if you are in a hurry, you don't have time, you want to catch the salah, you can just pour water and clean all of your body, including the mouth and the nose, and you are okay. Now, if you made wudu, if you made ghusl, whether the first type or the second type, you don't have to make wudu later on. You can just go right away and pray. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى حتى تعلموا ما تقولون ولا جنبا إلا عابري سبيل حتى تغتسلوا. We are prevented from praying if we are in a state of janaba. Until when? Until we make ghusl. Once you make ghusl, you are ready to make the salah. Secondly, because ghusl is a major tahara. And wudu is a minor tahara. So the major tahara supersedes the minor tahara. And this is the opinion of the majority of the scholars. Even Imam Bukhari, he has a chapter in his book that shows that making ghusl is enough and sufficient, and you don't need to make wudu afterwards. You can just go right away and pray. Whether you do sufficient ghusl or recommended ghusl. طيب. Now, question. Yes.
In order to make proper ghusl, you need to cover the private parts.
Okay. Now, if you this is called wara. You know, if you can do that, like you wrap something around your waist, and then you can manage to wash your entire body, that will be the best thing to do. But if you cannot do that, and you need to take that off, okay, and take ghusl, you can do that. Okay, but it's preferred.
Make the wudu without covering the.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, yes. It is not a condition, you know. Yes.
Yeah, while I can wash my feet, if I would instead of washing my feet, if I will do masa on the socks, is it okay?
No, in ghusl.
No.
In wudu. Yes. For ghusl, you have to take off your shoes and your socks, and you have to wash your feet. But for wudu, yes. In fact, even if you are at home, you have your socks on, and you wear those socks after wudu, then it would be preferred not to take them off. Because the Prophet ﷺ, when he wiped over his socks, he was not traveling. You know? So the scholar said, if you wear shoes or if you wear socks, it's better not to take them off. You can just wipe over them. Now, yes?
Any particular rule about making ghusl for Jummah prayer?
It's recommended.
Recommended, but
Yeah,
not
highly recommended to make ghusl at the day of Jum'ah. Very close to the time of the Salah. Like if you are coming to the masjid, say, around 12 o'clock. Right before coming to the masjid, it's recommended to make ghusl. Also, it's recommended to make ghusl for the Eid prayer. And also, it's recommended to make ghusl if you want to make ihram for Hajj. Those are the situations where it's recommended to make ghusl. Inshallah, when you go back to the handout, there are a lot of details about wiping over the two socks and also making ghusl. Okay. One more thing before we finish. You know, I think ghusl is in unit number 6, and at the end of that unit there is like about maybe 10 or 9 slides about menstruation. Alhamdulillah, I put a lot of information, and inshallah, if any one of the sisters had any question related to this issue, they can inshallah raise this question inshallah next week inshallah. Do you have any questions? Yes.
Stating your intention. When you about to make wudu, this is the intention in your heart, or did you have to say it?
Yeah, you don't have to say it. Oh, in fact, you should not say it. The intention is the condition of your heart. Whatever you have in your heart, this is the intention. Yes.
Making wudu when you have braid, or actually, if you have hijab.
Ghusl.
And for ghusl, the
Yeah,
braid.
yeah. For women, you know, if a woman had her hair braided, she does not have to undo it. She can just pour water over it. And also for women, if they wear head scarf and they're making wudu, they don't have to take it off. Okay, they can just wipe over it. If a woman is making wudu, like especially in a public bathroom, then she does not have to take off her head scarf. She can just wet her hands with water and then wipe over the head scarf. That will be acceptable because the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, they used to do so. Okay? Now, والله تعالى أجل وأعلم. طيب سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وصلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على محمد وجزاكم الله خيرا.